What's going on? It's your boy Saint D's here, bringing you part two of my beta impressions. Today we're going to talk about defense, and the topics on defense I want to talk about basically tackling, usering the zones, interceptions, and the corners and the on the defense. So let's get into it. Tackling is very improved. I felt that if ratings mattered. Like I said, I played both CFM and online head to head. Um, I felt reassured playing against certain players. When I was using the Patriots, Patrick Chung was like elite tackling. He most of the time running backs, wide receivers, they weren't breaking tackles. It wasn't seen as much. On the other end of the spectrum, in CFM, I gave up a lot of tackles because of my players' tackle ratings were low. Um, but other than that, it was reassuring knowing that once I selected a secure tackle, that people were getting tackled. Another thing was the straight feature. If you broke down, squared up with your opponent, you were basically sure to get that tackle as well. Hit sticks were a lot smoother. They were more responsive, especially for the linebackers and those safeties that had the enforcer ability. Um, specifically, Landon Collins. Only one time did his ability not work, and I was kind of frustrated because the ability said that he's basically had secure tackler when he's making a hit stick and against bigger opponents, and one time it just failed on me. Um, Next thing I want to talk about is usering. So, usering linebackers does take a little bit more skill this year. You can't just run around, especially with just anybody who's not agile, have high leaping abilities. Um, you will get caught out of position. You will animate, but pop up will say out of reach. So if I was to be a user linebacker, I would definitely try to strafe within the zones and of your opponent and follow the receiver to get a better animation. Um, when I was using the Patriots, I used Patrick Chung, and obviously he's more agile than a linebacker. He's way faster than a linebacker. He could keep up with wide receivers. Um, one of the plays where I was using him, he had maybe plus 4 or 5 speed. You could tell he had that amount of speed based off of the wide receiver I was guarding, and he was about 5 yards off the receiver. And with using ball hawk and things like that, I was able to user Patrick Chung and intercept my opponent. So I think usering it is smooth, is way more responsive, is way more rewarding. I felt that 50-50 balls went the defensive way. Obviously, with the new superstar X factors, um, you don't want to let double me come into effect, but you get the idea. You want to play chess, not checkers. When it comes to zones were zones were iffy because zones are highly based off rating and also AI logic. If no one's in the flat, the corner should go find a receiver to guard, and that's the one true negative I want to take away from the zones in the game. Um, you could tell what the mismatches are on defense as far as zones and things like that. You could tell how to beat certain zones and things like that. Um, but that's pretty much all I want to talk about for zones. When it comes to interceptions, um, they were like I said before, like it's 50-50 when it comes to interception. You can either be there or you can be behind the receiver. If a receiver overthrows the ball, you can intercept it and things like that. But if you swat the ball at times, um, and your opponent's receiver is in the area, they will have the awareness to catch that ball. So you have to be cognizant of what is going on in the area. Um, and lastly, I want to talk about corners. Corners play a huge factor in this game, where it's like I want to say abilities matter and ratings matter to the point where you have to be smart on defense. Um, Playing in CFM, my corners, none of my corners had superstar abilities. So I had to rely on playing a lot of zone. Every time I played man, they would get beat, and it was just like, what do I have to do to to basically be great? And but on the other end of the spectrum, playing online head to head, it was more it was more balanced. I want to say, especially going against the Adam Thielens and the Brandon Cooks and Keenan Allens and things like that. It was balanced with playing with the Patriots with Stephen Gilmore. Obviously, he's a superstar X factor, and who else? Patrick Chung. Who else? Yeah, those guys basically set the set the standard of what the game could be like. If you know what you're doing, you add in a little blitz here and there, and these guys were basically elite. You could actually tell the difference. I don't think the corners would be as great as they should be if it wasn't for rating. But that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed the feedback. Please like, comment, subscribe, and remember to be great.